Right, welcome ladies and gents. This is going to be my review of Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves. So, this of course stars Chris Pine as Edgin. We've got Michelle Rodriguez as Holga Kilgore. Great name. Great name. We've got Reggie Jean Page as Dank, something like that anyway. We've got Hugh Grant playing Forge Fitzwilliam. We had Sophia Lillis, who I'm looking at her IMDb image now. She doesn't look a thing like that in the film. As Doric, the Owlbear. And then we've got Justice Smith as Simon Ormar, who I think Justice Smith was in. Pretty certain he was in the Pokemon movie, Detective Pikachu. Anyway, I really enjoyed this film. I tweeted out my first reactions at Mistakes Reviews over on Twitter. Please do follow me over on there. Had a great time. This is a very fun, good movie. Like, actually laugh out loud moments. It's well shot. It's well choreographed. It's got a lot of action. It's got a lot of heart. It's just a good movie. It's a really good movie. Now, I'll address the sort of elephant in the room, which loads of people will be talking about. Furiously typing below. But the writers said they emasculated the men. No, they didn't. Well, they did say that, but they actually didn't do that in the movie. So Edgin is like a bard. He's not a fighter, and he does fight actually in this, and not emasculated it at all. Simon Omar is not emasculated. He has a lack of self-confidence, which then he has a character arc, and then boom, he's an amazing wizard sorcerer at the end. And then Reggie Jean Park, he's a badass. So of the three men, two of them are not meant to be out-and-out fighters, but they both do really cool things in the movie. And then one that is, a paladin, is actually a fighter, is a badass. So don't believe the nonsense that people came out and said, even the writers, because they didn't actually do what they said that they were doing, or it's not how it was taken, whatever. Basically, it's a really good film. They have managed to create a really good story and a good world to explore. Basically, you're dropped in like a dungeon master. They have this sort of story mapped out. They've got to go here, do this, get this, go there, go back to do this grand narrative. And it works. It works really, really well. It's a really, really good adaptation of Dungeons & Dragons, actually. The special effects are fantastic. Really, really good. Like, I watched this on an IMAX screen and nothing glared out to me. Even little things in the distance where you'd ordinarily go, maybe. Like, there's like floating lights and orbs sort of down the street of this city and stuff. And you're like, maybe that could be a bit crap in like other films. But everything was really good. It all worked. And anything that looked a little bit off, like there's that concrete dragon in the trailer, it works in the context of the film. So, the sort of rendering and textures of the CGI, yes, it looks maybe ever so slightly cartoonish, but it's contextual, so it works. It's meant to be like that, is the point being said here. Everything that's meant to be serious is really serious. The owlbear stuff's great. Like, that's epic. All of the changes and stuff. There was just one change. There's the wildling, wild changer, wild girl, whatever. She sort of shapeshifts and change. And it was just a deer at the end. And I was a bit like, yeah, ever so slightly off. Not majorly, but ever so slightly off. Everything else, it was really good. Honestly, laugh out loud funny. Chris Pine's are very good with comedic timing. And Michelle Rodriguez, yeah, fine. Like, it works. She's the sort of brute force muscle. But it's this sort of close-knit family unit. And that's what it's all about. It's actually about Chris Pine going on a hero's journey to become a better father. It's a really nice message. It's a really good story. And yeah. One thing I will say, actually, about this film, you watch the trailer, and I'm sure you get the sort of distinct impression that they're going to be a bit Guardians of the Galaxy and use this music that they had in the trailer to accentuate certain bits and pieces throughout the film. Nothing like that. In fact, there's very little music in this film, and they let the sound design and the sound effects of swords clashing and smashing into, roaring animals, creatures, they let that do the talking. I'm thinking back to it now. I don't really remember any music in this film. But it wasn't in a way that seemed out of place. It worked really nicely. And the thing which stuck out to me was the hallway, the corridor, alleyway fight, which you get in the trailer. It goes, chop them off, right? Yeah, chop my head off, yeah, chop it off. You know, the stairs, trying to cut the things. That's a pretty protracted fight. And there's no music. And it works because it's brutal. It works really, really well. Really, really well. It's a 12A. So what's that, like a... I don't know what that is. PG-13. And there's no sex or nudity in it, but they say prick a few times. Hugh Grant loves it. Just playing a really fun sort of con man type character. Really good. Yeah, everything was really decent in this, actually. I would happily watch another one of these. I would happily watch this again. It's 2 hours, 15 minutes, and it's a breezy 2 hours, 15 minutes. The pacing on that is brilliant. Like, they've nailed the pacing. The pacing's great. Absolutely brilliant pacing. Can't fault the pace. It absolutely works. And I do think, and I really do hope that this gets good word of mouth. Because out of all the movies that are out there today, like you've got, like Shazam, for instance, is obviously the sort of equivalent market to this film. It's garbage by comparison. The visual effects are shockingly bad. The music is shockingly bad. It's outdated. It's just crap. The messages it's just a crap film by comparison to this. This film absolutely deserves a really good, strong word of mouth. It's a very, very good film. It honestly, good to watch on the big screen as well. There's an opening sequence where they go to a big prison in the sort of ice world element, you know, the sort of ice part of the world. And there's this like big orc looking guy, and the prosthetics are great. Like, it reminded me, genuinely, I promise I mean this, it reminded me of Lord of the Rings. The prosthetics were great. Really good. And the sort of Cockney guy, you know, obviously donning the prosthetics and stuff, the practical effects. It was really decent. Honestly, it was really, really decent. Strong recommendation, this film. Really, really strong recommendation. Loved it. There's nothing glaring that stood out to me. No, like good message all about family and heart and, you know, letting people go but holding on to those that matter. And yeah, it was nice. It was a good film. And sort of self-confidence and finding yourself. It's not woke remotely. There's none of that messaging. There's no nonsense in it. There's literally nothing ideological in this film at all. Bradley Cooper makes a hilarious cameo in this film. You will know it when you see it, and it is honestly hilarious. He's essentially a midget, but not. But you'll know what I mean when you see it. It was... I had to do a double take on an IMAX screen. It was very funny. It worked. So strong recommendation, this film. Genuinely strong recommendation. Take your kids. They'll love it. I honestly think they'll love it. And I think you as parents, you as just people that are going out and watching movies, I think you will love it. This is a very decent film. It deserves your money, deserves your time, and you won't be disappointed in watching it. So if you've seen it, let me know what you think down below. I genuinely be curious to hear. But I hope this makes some good money, because it deserves it, because it is good. There are no weird messaging. It's a good adaptation, and they do a very good attempt, and they succeed in just going, here's a quest. Go. And there's bits of Dungeons & Dragons. Go. It all just works. It flows very nicely, so it deserves money. Cheers, guys. Take care.